I'm Doug Gottlieb. How great is that Sunday going to be? Bears, Vikings in the new dome. That'll be phenomenal. And Kirk Cousins has a chance to quiet the haters, right? Quiet the haters. Win the game. Win the game. Go to the playoffs. I mean, like, look, if you watch Case Keenum play this past weekend on Monday night against the Raiders, you're like, if you think that that's not an upgrade, then I can't help you. You can't simply go by wins and losses, you know? You just go, well, wins and losses. Like, listen, are wins and losses in prime time at times indicative of how good a quarterback you are? Okay. But, you know, some of Cousins' failures with the Washington Redskins were because the Redskins sucked. That's all. They weren't good. They were on TV not because they were good, but because of the Washington Redskins. And they have a huge national fan base, national draw. You know, he's had games this year where they've lost because his wide receivers have fumbled. So, look, some of the losses are on him. But simply pinning a loss on a player or a win on a player. Take the MVP debate. Well, Drew Brees' team's record is just better. So, you know, 2 games better than Pat Mahomes. Did we not watch Drew Brees go 4 straight games with interception? That did happen in this lifetime. Against the Atlanta Falcons, and this is a win, a defense which has been just decimated by injury. They're going to fire everybody in Atlanta. He had 171 yards passing. He backed that up in Dallas, where they had 10 points. 10 points, and they lost the game, 13-10 to the Dallas Cowboys. Again, one game is not a season or MVP definer. One game is not. Pat Mahomes had 5 turnovers against the Rams. He did have 6 touchdowns. They did score 51 points. But, like, look, if we're going to hold Mahomes accountable for wins and losses, like, that's just his defense stinks. Now, his defense being stinky does help some statistical dominance. Like, I don't know. He's going to throw 50 touchdown passes. He's going to throw for 5,000 yards. He's going to have 115 or 16 or something crazy passer rating. He's throwing the ball downfield, something that Alex Smith didn't do until last year. And they're winning games. They're going to have the number 1 seed in the AFC, barring a collapse and loss to the Raiders who are on a short week. So I'm not saying Drew Brees hasn't had a great year. But he's got the best rush defense, the best scoring defense in the National Football League. He plays in a dome with a team set up for a dome. He plays for an incredible play caller, and he's had a really good year. But the MVP is not really the most valuable. Most valuable is Andrew Luck. It's the best player, best quarterback on the best team who's had the best season. That's Pat Mahomes. With that, let's bring in TJ Houshmandzadeh, former star wide receiver in the National Football League, now a star here on Fox Sports Radio and Fox Sports 1. Hoosh, did you have yourself a Merry Christmas?
It was pretty good. How about yourself?
It's really, really good. Really good.
It's pretty good.
Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year. The MVP debate, I watch Mahomes. I'm like, what am I missing that we don't give it to him? If you had a vote, who would you vote for?
I'm with you. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's his first year as a starter. He's going to throw for 5,000 yards. You don't see that. And you can say the rules or whatever. Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt. Patrick, what he's doing, you just don't see a quarterback in his first year as a starter have this type of year. Now, if Aaron Donald breaks Michael Strahan's record, I believe he deserves consideration. In order for a defensive player to deserve consideration, you have to do things that haven't been done. If he does that, he deserves consideration. Outside of that, it's Patrick Mahomes. Now, if you give it to Drew Brees, to me, it's a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah.
And that's the only way Brees can win it, if the voters feel sorry for him that he hasn't won an MVP.
You'd give it to Aaron. You'd really give it to Aaron Donald.
Yes. If he breaks Michael Strahan's record, I don't know if I would give it to him, but he deserves great consideration.
I think he'll get consideration. The problem is that, you know, what you're saying is, even if he say he ends up with something crazy like 22 sacks, right? 23 sacks. The amount of effect he has in a game as compared to a quarterback. You know, it's the old J.J. Watt. You pick the best season J.J. Watt ever had. His team didn't win more games because of it, because you don't affect the game as greatly as when you're quarterback. It's not fair, but that's the reality of the position. Positional dependence has to go to the MVP. All right, speaking of quarterbacks, I want to ask you about Baker Mayfield's act. Now, Baker Mayfield did tweet at Colin Cowherd. Did you see this?
Yeah.
Okay, so on Christmas Eve, Maggio, did you see this?
What's that?
Okay, on Christmas Eve, Baker Mayfield said, "Merry Christmas to everybody," including that Grinch Colin Cowherd, right? Like, dude has a bag of chips on his shoulder, not a chip on his shoulder. This comes off of winning a game against Hoosh's Cincinnati Bengals, where he stares down his former head coach, Hugh Jackson, after completing a long pass. Baker Mayfield is walking it like he's talking it, but he's talking a lot for a quarterback. What's your reaction to it?
He needs to chill out. It's by him tweeting at Colin, all it does is reinforce the fact that everything Colin has said is correct. Like, dude, Colin thinks you're a good player. Everybody thinks you're a good player. You just need to chill. It's okay. You were the first pick. I understand you're a walk-on in college and you've always had to fight uphill. You're fighting an uphill battle. Right. But, dude, you were the first pick of the draft. You're no longer considered a walk-on. You were considered the best player coming out of college, and you were drafted one. Relax. If I was a defensive player on any team, I would take a fine. I would hit him so late on purpose. Like, shut up. I would take a fine. Like, you would not play and act like that if I was playing. And I was offensive player, so it would never happen. But if I'm on the opposing team, it would annoy me.
Yeah, listen, I think it works in Cleveland because Cleveland has the same kind of syndrome, right? People have made fun of the lake when it caught on fire. Heck, the old Browns left town. Everybody leaves Cleveland, right? Cleveland Indians, when they want to get paid, they leave town. LeBron James left town twice. Came back, won championship, then I'm out. I ain't finished my career here, right? So there's a little bit of, hey, we've always felt like we're the walk-on in the NFL, and now a guy who was a former walk-on comes in, and he's kind of like a WWE wrestler, right? He's talking trash, he's acting crazy, he's waking up dangerous, and we love it. But I don't know if it's befitting of a franchise quarterback if you want to be taken seriously in the real. Maybe it doesn't matter, right?
Quarterbacks don't act like this, and this is why it's different. Is if he was on my team, I probably would like it.
I think guys love it. That was always my point when I sat in that seat and talked to Colin. Colin's like, people in Oklahoma, and he said, "Does he like Manziel?" I was like, "No," because Manziel. Not everybody loved Manziel because Manziel was in it for Manziel, right? Whereas Baker, guys love him. Like, they love playing with him.
Yeah, if he's on your team. But if an
entire league and coaches and front office people, and look, even the thing he did with the Chargers, where they were interested in potentially drafting him, and then they send him his playbook, and he's like, yeah, I didn't even pay attention to it. Now we can't draft you because it looks bad. Now we look like, we don't care if you don't think highly of us, but we'll take you anyway. Like, we're not going to draft. We're not even going to consider it. So I think it's a fascinating thing. Lamar Jackson. Long term, will he work?
I like Lamar Jackson, man. It will work. To me, it's similar to Russell Wilson. Meaning, Lamar Jackson has a great defense. Russell Wilson's first 4 years in the NFL, he had the number one defense. And then his fifth year, they took a drop and went to 3. As long as he's playing with a great defense, he's going to be all right because they'll mask his deficiencies throwing the ball. The ball he threw to Mark Andrews, great throw.
Great throw.
It's only one throw, and you need to make more of those throws over the course of a game, but that was a great throw. As long as you can play great defense and run the ball, he'll be fine.
I understand, but he's run the ball more than anybody who's ever played the position. He's run it more than he's thrown it. And though he's taller than you think, and he's an unbelievable, he might be the most athletic dude. Like, he and Vic are the most athletic dudes to play the position in the NFL. Like, if Cam Newton's going to get beat up by the wear and tear of playing that style of football, what's going to happen to him?
See, he's a different runner. Cam is trying to run through you at times. Lamar is trying to make you miss. History has shown a quarterback can't run the ball like this. Now, he doesn't just miss, he misses badly, right? Like, he misses underneath throws, what should be easy throws, and he misses badly at times, which will lead to turnovers. But yeah, I just don't. I wouldn't want to play Baltimore in the playoffs. If I'm a team, I'm afraid to play the Baltimore Ravens in the playoffs. Defensively, they're going to shut you down.
Yes.
They're going to limit your possessions.
Yes.
They're going to run
They got a great field goal kicker.
They're going to run the ball, and they limit your possessions. They limit the amount of time you possess the ball. You have to be perfect when you play Baltimore because of that run game and that defense. And so as long as he has the surrounding cast around him, I'm a fan of him.
Are we willing to at least consider that Tom Brady's over the hill?
Man, you know what? the game was on. I watched the game out here, and
The Bills game?
yes, and I was upset that it was on actually. So I was on NFL Pass ticket. If you watch the Patriots, Julian Edelman is the only guy that can beat man coverage.
Yes.
And so defenses know this. These coaches watching football, they watch the Patriots and say, Julian Edelman is the only guy who can beat us in the passing game. That's his problem. So does it look like Tom is slowed down? Yes. But when Tom doesn't have anybody that can get open, how is he going to look? How is he going to look? You take Julian Edelman away, who you throwing the ball to?
But he's also looked more inaccurate and if possible, less like he's looked very uncomfortable the past couple weeks in that pocket.
He has not played well, but the guys around him haven't played well either.
Right.
And now, New England, this is just me. And I said this last week, you can never really go against New England, but I don't think they're going to win the playoff game this year.
I don't either.
game.
Rappaport said I'm crazy because it's Brady, because it's Belichick. Tell me the game breakers they have on defense. Tell me the
Pittsburgh
game
is probably the best team that could win a Super Bowl, and they won't even make the playoffs.
Yeah.
New England won't win a playoff game, and they're going to get a first-round bye. Tom Brady is not playing great, but when you don't have a receiver that can get open consistently in man-to-man outside of Edelman, and a defensive coordinator is going to take that away, it's going to be tough on any quarterback.
All right, last thing. Cousins has a chance to kind of redeem himself in the eyes of most NFL fans. They got the Bears coming in, nasty defense, but playing at home should help. Can the Vikings beat the Bears to get into the playoffs?
The Vikings will win the game, and my reasoning is the Bears really don't have anything to play for. They play at the same time as the Rams, and so once they see the Rams are going to blow the 49ers out, they're going to pull guys out. They'll pull some guys out of the game, and that will enable Minnesota to win the game because more than likely they're going to play each other in the first round of the playoffs. And so Kirk Cousins will win the game because of circumstances.
I said that was the last one. I lied. Goff. How do you fix Goff? Like, he has not. Even go back to the Lions game, he didn't look good. How do they reconfigure that thing?
That offensive line, number one, they need to give the ball to Todd Gurley more. But the offensive line, if you think about, they've been getting manhandled up front.
Yep.
Manhandled up front. And so he's seeing ghosts when they're not there. And when they are there, he just hasn't been as accurate because the pressure has been getting to him. The offensive line hasn't played well in the last 4 to 5 games.
That's the same thing that happened to the Chargers, where against the Ravens, who you talked about, like he had Terrell Suggs at his feet the entire night. You can't step into a throw. You're worried about your legs or whatever, and so you're short on passes. You're inaccurate on passes. And Goff is a guy who you hit him once, he lacks a little bit of confidence as well.
And the Rams miss Cooper Kupp. Brandon Cooks is a good receiver. But he needs to be great with the contract that he has, and I don't know with his size, can he be great? He's good. And they miss Cooper Kupp.
I completely agree with all of your analysis. That's not why we had you on. But, of course, he was a Pro Bowler. You can see him on Speak for Yourself. You always see him here on The Herd. He's TJ Houshmandzadeh. Hoosh, thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Let's get to Jamie with the news.
No.